Hi there, I thought I'd do a video because this one is kind of another grinding my gears slightly. As I'm seeing a lot of right-wing hate against a Muslim girl who has been banned from the UK. Now don't get me absolutely wrong, what she did was absolutely abhorrent. Joining ISIS is absolutely wrong. However, there are a few facts that people tend to forget. Number one, she's actually born a UK citizen. Now, her child might be a different story because he was not born in the UK. He would fall into different jurisdiction, but she is a UK citizen. She was born here, so legally they have no right to remove her citizenship unless she has revoked it herself and has somewhere else to go. We see that with the UK when people leave to go to America. They kind of denounce their UK citizenship. Some have dual citizenship. She does not have dual citizenship. She has nothing. She joined ISIS at the time because I believe that she was kind of brainwashed. The same way that there are people who propaganda people into joining cults. Now I see ISIS as a cult. They are not religion. They kind of are extreme wing ideology. They are nothing like what they're meant to be. I see them as a cult. Okay, that's my view on ISIS, But why should she be allowed back in? The simple answer is yes, she should, but she should be under heavy restrictions. She either should be arrested in UK when she arrives in the UK and go to prison to serve out the crimes that she's committed. What she should not be doing is just thrown out the country with no actual place to stay. Because what you do is you create that being someone else's problem. And when you create someone else's problem, that creates resentment, hatred, and the likes of the extremists will use that as propaganda. They'll say this is what the British do to their Muslim girls. They chuck them out and they don't bring them back in. They'll use that as propaganda, and that will mean that more Muslims may join more extremist groups. It's kind of a counter effect. Katie Hopkins, Tommy Robinson, etc. They don't realise, but what they're actually doing is they're creating a propaganda that's helping recruit young, angry people who believe that their religion is not respected in this country, not taken seriously. So they'll join because they're seeing a lot of hatred. The way you turn hatred around is the opposite. You don't give it energy, you give it love. When the IRA and the Northern Ireland troubles in Northern Ireland, it took a big decision for them to turn around and say, look, we know people have done wrong on both sides here. We know there are genuine grievances. But this can go on for generations after generations. Or we can do something. We can stop the violence. We can find a way around it. And what they did probably an amazing thing. They said, right, let's have an agreement where we put down our guns, but we'll lay some groundworks to rules to do things. These had included releasing political prisoners. These included allowing an independent Irish Assembly, but still have the power to still be within the United Kingdom. Now these were like these were amazing things that got done. And now former IRA soldiers, former loyalist soldiers, are now in Ireland protecting the peace. And it's lasted. The only reason it's starting to get unstable now is because of there are political extremists that are still there, but they kind of did not agree with the peace. But all in all, the peace has stood. Now with this girl herself, there are people that are claiming that she's only coming here to claim benefits for her child. The problem is with this argument is everyone keeps bringing up really ridiculous comments. A lot of them are based on, I wouldn't say xenophobic, but they're pretty close to it. Now the facts are this: she was 15-year-old when she left, which legally makes her a child in the eyes of the UK. It also means that her husband, if he was in the UK, would be done and arrested. So technically she is a minor. So when she left, she was a minor. She was also indoctrinated and brainwashed as well. Now, we only have to look at many different cults around the world to know that this happens. That you see people who go through these cults and have years and years of brainwashing and have to be reprogrammed. And this is what happens I believe happens in ISIS. There is a lot of brainwashing. They make people believe that make people hate the West. And these are people who maybe were ordinary citizens, but they found a way to get to them. But these people could provide very useful information for the future if you sat down and talked to these people that were not indoctrinated. Find out why they started, what they did that caused them to join. What made them hate the West so much? Was it propaganda by the elites? Was it propaganda caused by the elites? Was it negative stereotyping from population at large? And do the same to the opposite side. Do the same to the right wingers. Talk to them. What's made them believe this way? Is it because they are seeing something different? By listening to people's genuine concerns on both sides, you can heal a massive rift. And it's not a case of I'm a goody two-shoe here. I'm just trying to speak reasonable and try and speak in a common language that everyone understands. So, what I think should happen, yes, she should come back, but she should be arrested, detained, and made to pay for her crimes. Under international law, that is what you do. You can't just suddenly pick and choose which laws you agree with, unless it's an act of parliament. But with international law, that is an agreement between many countries. And if you break that law, you should face the consequences. And you shouldn't just ban someone on knee-jerk reactions. Because what you then do is you breach international law. And you are then a war criminal. What do I think they should do after that? Well, if she is reformed, she can give us a lot of information about how ISIS worked, how they recruited, and she could help the UK. She could help stop a rise of something just as bad. We can't, but that's once we've further down the line. Now her son would be a different matter. Her son was born in Bangladesh, from what I understand, or wherever he was born. So that means that her son, is not a naturally born UK citizen because he was not born in the UK. So he does not have the right of birth. So he would have to apply for citizenship. But apart from that, I think. But remember, this child is an innocent, and if he does survive, because there's been problems with neglect, and if there is neglect, then surely this child should be taken into care, where he's looked after, maybe become a functioning member of society, not someone who just comes across as another member of ISIS in the future. Anger only breeds more anger. If you kill someone's father, they get angry and they take up arms to avenge your death. It's the same with gang violence. A gang member killed, they want revenge. And the circle never ends, it keeps going and going. But if we can turn a corner here and try and do something that's slightly different, then maybe we can kind of make the world better. And it doesn't have to be, it just has to be a change of mindset. Now, you can, the likes of the Tommy Robinson supporters, who I've talked about frequently, they're going to kill someone. There's no doubt about it. Because words fuel hate, and hate fuels violence. Violence fuels death. That's how it all works. And if we use the phrase, if we kind of do what we're told about fires, if you take away the oxygen, take away the heat, or take away the fuel, a fire can't spread. So we need to take away the fuel, which is the media, the anti-sentiment media coverage, the hatred, vile hatred. Take away the oxygen by not letting, by kind of going to the social medias and trying to make sure that these ideologies on both sides don't spread. Then there's no oxygen anymore. And then once we have the oxygen and the fuel gone, the heat, and the heat is to try and understand each other. Just because you don't know the person down the street does not mean they won't be friendly to you. But that's it. That's what I think there needs to be. But there you go. That is why I think, and there'll be people blasting saying, "Oh, she shouldn't come in, she's a killer." Yes, but we can't go beyond not my problem anymore, because eventually it will turn into our problem when more people make it our problem. And like Tommy Robinson, like Katie Hopkins, they make it their problem. They make it our problem. And by then it will be too late to do anything about it. So there you go.